to F-Bomb Friday. I am your host, Tracy Preston, along with my husband, Todd. Hey, hon.
Hey, baby.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Let's hit it. Imagine you are alone on the water, not a lake, not a river you know well. Something older than that, wider than it should be, dark in a way that feels deliberate. It is late, so late, the sky has stopped being blue and has become something heavier. The kind of night where fog doesn't just sit on the water, it moves like it's looking at you. You are in a birch canoe on the St. Mary's River. No motor, no modern sound, just wood, water, and breath. Somewhere ahead should be Sault Ste. Marie, but the fog has erased everything. Even direction feels like a memory you're no longer sure is yours. Then you hear something. Not an animal, not wind. A voice? Clear enough to understand, close enough to make your skin tighten. It says your name, and it is coming from the shoreline. There is no campfire, no lantern, no movement. Only fog and something that has been waiting for you. Today's episode of F-Bomb Friday takes us into one of the oldest surviving pieces of Great Lakes folklore tied to the Upper Peninsula. And it is strange in a way that feels almost unfinished, because unlike most legends that grow louder over time, this one has faded. Not because it was disproven, but because people stopped talking about it. But if we have anything to do with it, we are keeping this lore alive. Welcome to the talking head of Sault Ste. Marie. We travel back to the late 1600s, to the earliest European presence at Sault Ste. Marie, where French missionaries, traders, and indigenous nations all collided at one of the most important waterways in North America. And from that collision, something is said to have remained behind. A voice, a severed head, a warning that never stopped speaking. Before the French, before the missions, before the forts and trading posts, the St. Mary's River was already a lifeline. It connected two Great Lakes, Superior and Huron, making it one of the most strategically important waterways on the continent. For indigenous nations, this was not empty wilderness. It was highway, border, hunting ground, and gathering place. Control of this water meant control of movement itself. Then, in the 17th century, Europeans arrived. French explorers and fur traders pushed into the region, followed by Catholic missionaries, most notably the Jesuits. They came with religion, trade ambitions, and the belief that the land was something to be mapped, converted, and claimed. But the Great Lakes did not yield easily. The river did not belong to anyone. And in that tension, stories began. The earliest version of this story is not written in any official record. It survives in fragments, oral accounts, fur trader tales, and later retellings that blur together like fog over water. It begins with violence. A French missionary, or in some versions, a trader associated with the mission, becomes entangled in conflict. Some say betrayal. Some say political tension. Some say he was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, in a region where authority was constantly shifting. What remains consistent across versions is what happens next. He is executed, his head separated from his body. In one version, it is displayed as a warning near the river. In another, it is left exposed on a stake overlooking the water. A message meant for anyone who thought the river could be controlled. But that is where the story stops being historical and starts becoming something else. Because the body is never the focus of the legend. The voice is. According to voyagers traveling through the region in the generations that followed, something began to happen along that stretch of river. At first, it was subtle, a sound mistaken for wind, then mistaken for birds, then for distant conversation. But eventually, it became unmistakable, a voice. Sometimes it spoke in French. Sometimes it whispered prayers. Sometimes it sounded like someone calling out from the shoreline, asking travelers to come closer. And sometimes it said nothing at all, except a name. Always the name of whoever was listening. Fur traders began avoiding certain bends of the river after sunset. Canoes traveled in tight groups, unwilling to pass through the fog alone. Some accounts describe paddlers refusing to look toward the shoreline when the mist settled over the water, even if they heard movement beside them. Because the worst part was not the voice itself. Oh no, it was how close it sounded. As if whatever was speaking was just beyond the edge of sight, waiting for the fog to thin. And over time, the story evolved. The voice became a presence, and the presence became something visual. Some said they saw a pale shape hovering just above the shoreline mist. Not a full figure, just enough to suggest a face. Others described the feeling of being watched from land that should have been empty. A few accounts, far more modern, mention hearing a voice directly from the waterline, as if the river itself was speaking upward through the fog. There is no consistent description, only a consistent reaction. Fear mixed with certainty that something was there and that it should not have been there. Now, here is where we need to ground this. There is no verified historical record confirming a severed head that spoke in Sault Ste. Marie. No Jesuit documentation, no French colonial record, no indigenous written account that corroborates the literal supernatural claim. What is documented is far more important for understanding why this legend exists at all. The region was a high conflict frontier in the 1600s. Violence between competing groups was not uncommon. Communication between cultures was fragmented and often mistranslated. Fear traveled faster than fact. In that environment, stories did what stories always do. They adapted, they survived, and they became warnings. But why a talking head? Now, across older European folklore, there are recurring motifs of disembodied voices, speaking relics, and heads that continue consciousness after death. It is possible that French settlers carried fragments of those traditions into the Great Lakes region, blending them with the realities of frontier violence. But more grounded explanations exist as well. Fog over water can distort sound dramatically. The St. Mary's River is known for strong currents and shifting acoustics that carry voices farther than expected, or bend them in ways that make direction almost impossible to determine. And darkness, isolation, and the expectation of danger, and the mind begins to fill in the gaps, not with what is there, but with what fear believes might be. So why is this story so obscure? Why has it faded so much? Unlike other Michigan legends that were preserved through tourism, books, or generations of storytelling, the talking head never found a place in mainstream folklore collections. It never became a roadside attraction. It never entered popular ghost tourism. Instead, it remained scattered, half remembered in older oral traditions and occasional references in regional folklore discussions. And then it largely disappeared, which is often what happens to the oldest stories. Again, not disproved. They simply stop being repeated. Yet among collectors of Upper Peninsula folklore, it persists as one of Michigan's oldest surviving ghost legends. Was there truly an execution? Almost certainly. French colonial records document violence throughout the Great Lakes during the 17th century. Did a severed head speak? History offers no evidence, but folklore rarely concerns itself with proof. It preserves fear. Whether the talking head was the restless spirit of an innocent missionary, the lingering echo of colonial violence, or simply generations of frightened voyagers hearing strange sounds carried across the river, its whispers have never completely faded. And perhaps that's fitting, because some stories don't need a body to survive. So if you strip everything away, the missionaries, the fur trade, the oral retellings, the speculation, what remains is simple: a river, fog, a warning that may have been shaped by fear long before it was ever shaped into a story. But legends do not survive because they are proven. They survive because they are remembered in the wrong conditions. A quiet night, a stretch of water that feels too still, a moment where you think you hear your name carried across the dark. And if you ever find yourself near Sault Ste. Marie after sunset, when the fog settles low over the river and the world becomes nothing but sound without direction, you may notice how easy it is to mistake distance for presence, and presence or something that should not still be speaking. Because every legend has a starting point, but not every legend knows when to stop. And that is where today's story ends, or maybe where it pauses. Because along the St. Mary's River, stories don't really end. They just wait for the fog to come back. Well, I gotta tell you, hon, a severed head calling your name? No, thank you.
That's pretty freaky, isn't it?
I don't like it.
Yeah. This is a story that is all but disappeared. I mean, it's not very well known. It's even rarely spoken among the locals up there anymore because people aren't telling this story so much anymore. So I'm hoping to bring this story back to life. It's folklore and history go hand in hand, and I hate to see this story fade away into nothing.
Well, I can't understand why it would fade away. This is actually a very creepy story.
Yeah, and it's extremely old, dating back to the 1600s.
And that's not often that we have one so old.
Well, it is said that it is quite possibly Michigan's oldest ghost story.
Well, I'll believe it.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anybody decapitated before?
Have I ever seen anybody decapitated before?
Yeah, not like you have to see it in real life, but in real life, like...
No.
I did.
You did?
And I've regretted it ever since.
Yeah.
It was way, 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 way back, let's see. Maybe 2010, 2009. Wasn't it all the stuff going on with Al-Qaeda?
Oh, yeah.
And that was something I watched online, and I was like, what is this? And I watched it, and I was like, I threw up, and it was I'll never get that out of my mind. So when you gave me this story, I was like, oh my God.
Right.
No.
Well, and think about it, the head, the face, that's associated with one's identity.
But your identity changes so much
Yeah.
when it's decapitated.
That's right.
That's all I can tell you. It's a big change.
So this
haunting.
story actually wasn't that easy to investigate and to find. So I had to dig from multiple sources. One of the versions actually speaks of a brass head. Certainly less creepy. So I didn't add that part into the story for that reason. And there was little less known about the brass head version.
Stick with the real head.
Stick with the real head for sure.
Wow, it's a great story, and I'm glad we're bringing it back.
Yeah. And I have to also tell you, when I was doing research, I was finding a lot about the band, the Talking Heads, and it also brought up lots of political and news people because they're considered talking heads. So, yeah, it was hard to navigate and filter through all that.
I took you to the Talking Heads bit.
The Talking Heads, looking up the Talking Head legend, and
So
the
you
band,
got the band.
the band kept coming up. And
I got
was
it.
like,
I got it.
So
I understand. Interesting. Well, great story, hun.
Thank you.
Do you want to sign us out?
I sure do. You better lock your doors. You better lock your windows. And you might want to check under your bed.
And I don't ever want to see a decapitated head.
No.
Again.
What if it's calling your name, though? Well, you don't have to see it. It's just under your bed.
I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it. I'm not quite sure. I might want to think about that just in case.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. And we will see you again on Malice Monday.
We will see you on Monday.